Okay, so I finished reading A Court of Mist and Fury, and this is my review of it. As Chris Evans' nephew would say, I don't like it. You know what? It's actually hard to pinpoint because I think to myself, the storyline is actually quite good. I don't have a problem with the story, but the writing, I don't enjoy. I feel like I guess maybe I should preface this by saying this is a fantasy novel. My experience in reading fantasy novels is reading books like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings that are kind of the fantasy juggernauts. I haven't read a whole bunch of fantasy, although this is very popular right now. So it's not like this is a very obscure book. But yeah, Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings are very, very well written. And this book, I don't like the dialogue between the characters. It feels very immature. And I find that often I feel like things are over-explained. Things that could have just been implied and the reader would clearly pick up on. It's overly explained. It has to be Feyre and Rhysand being like, you're jealous. No, you're jealous. Like, it's too much. Or it's like, yeah, the subtext gives the reader the information that she was jealous, you know? You don't need to have it all outlined so blatantly, and it kind of makes it feel like it's aimed towards a younger reader who maybe wouldn't pick up on things. But it certainly should not be given to younger readers because, oh my gosh, the author is too horny. You know how in Mean Girls they say that the character Damien is too gay to function? Sarah J. Maas, I think, is too horny to function because, let me tell you, I had to skip some parts of this book because it's too much. I'm not somebody who I don't think it's something about being prude. I think it's just something about stuff is too explicit nowadays. Things can be implied without needing to be so explicit. And I feel like in this book, you get one of two things. You either get a description that's like, we made love in the garden, or it's like super graphic, pages and pages, describing this kind of like pornographic image. I don't care if the characters have sex, that's fine. But I don't need the gory details, and I'm not gonna read it. I will skip that part, and I did. But it would be like, you know, you skip ahead and you're thinking, okay, now is it safe to read again? And you start picking up where you're at, and it's like, oh, gross, no, oh my gosh. Skip ahead more. Okay, is it safe to read again? Oh, geez, no, it's not. It's too much. Feyre, I also thought was being incredibly annoying at the beginning of the book. It's her wedding, and she has to just constantly complain about like, yeah, they want me to wear this wedding dress and there's so much tulle and I hate that gaudy wedding dress, and people are asking me about the flowers and I don't care about flowers. And it seemed a little bit too much. I'm not like the other girls, you know? Like, she can't wear a dress. Even on a normal day, it's like, she doesn't want to wear a dress. She wants to wear a tunic. Like, she's not like a normal girl in a dress. She's better than that. So I thought that was super annoying. However, maybe that was just all to illustrate the fact that she wasn't comfortable in the spring court, because then once she goes to the night court, she's wearing dresses and she's like not so uptight about things. And And like I said, the storyline I actually thought was really good. I just wish that somebody else was writing it. I would love to see, yeah, if J.K. Rowling wrote this series, what would the experience be like reading that? Let's see, was there anything else that I was going to say about this book? I've already purchased the full series. After I read the first book and decided I was going to keep with it, I purchased the full series. So I will read the full series. But yeah, the storyline is fine. It's good. I feel like it's engaging, you know? This book was a little bit slow. There was a lot of parts of it that were slow, and then it picked up nicely towards the end. But yeah, I know this author was, in an interview, she said that her mother-in-law came up to her and asked her if she drew inspiration from her own sex life as to what's described in the book, and she was kind of mortified to be asked that by her mother-in-law. To me, I was kind of wondering if it was the opposite. I'm like, how boring do things need to be that, like, fantasizing this intensely is your safe haven? I don't know what's going on in that woman's marriage or anything like that, and I don't want to know. But I'm just saying, it's too horny. Way too horny, in my opinion, for anybody to be reading. And then, yeah, the dialogue is just very immature, and just things that could be subtly implied are, it sounds like, you know, when, you know, if you're watching a show like Dora the Explorer, and it's like, do you see the hat? And there's like a hat highlighted somewhere on the screen. It kind of felt like that in terms of the book. I guess the lesson from the book is just to allow people to have their independence, and that sometimes by trying to protect someone, you can actually make them weaker. So you have to find the balance, strike a balance between being protective and allowing people to grow. And that's what Tamlin didn't do. And now she's back with Tamlin, but he thinks so, but she's actually there as a spy. Spoiler alert, by the way. So I'm interested to see how that plays out in the next book. But yeah, so not my favorite. Oh, I remember what else I was gonna say. Okay, so something that I've noticed is that when it comes to fantasy and romance, it seems like authors can't find a happy medium. It has to be either almost almost non-present, or the only focus. For example, take a book like Harry Potter. You could technically say there's a little bit of romance, you know. Again, spoilers. Ron and Hermione get together, Harry and Ginny, you know, Harry and Cho kiss while she cries and stuff like that. It's not like there's no affection ever shown, but when you think Harry Potter, you don't think romance, you think friendship. Lord of the Rings. There's Aragorn and Arwen, Sam and Rosie. You know, it's not like there's no romantic relationship shown at all, but it's certainly barely present. Barely. And it seems like, and I would say the main themes that you think of when you think of Lord of the Rings are camaraderie and friendship. And then on the other side, in a fantasy genre, you've got Court of Thorns and Roses, where it feels like the action is, there's a little bit of action, but it's actually a fraction of the book compared to the majority of the book is all just like her being turned on or turned off, or like, does he want her, does he not want her, does she want him, does she feel guilty that she wants him? And it's almost the only thing that that the author talks about. Twilight, exact same thing. It's only about, does this person want me, do I want this person? And I feel like what I would really enjoy to see, and maybe if somebody has a recommendation of a book that they feel like fulfills this, leave it in a comment below, but would be a book that is able to have a romantic relationship that is a part of the story without dominating the story and without being on the back burner, but just a part of the story. And I don't know if fantasy authors can write that, because it seems to me that fantasy authors either go the romance route or the friendship route, and it's one or the other. They're, so anyways, that's what I'd like to see. That's what I'd like somebody to write. So anyways, that's my review of A Court of Mist and Fury. Do I recommend this book? Only if you've already purchased it. Only if you've already purchased the entire series. You can read it. I mean, like I said, there's definitely parts to skip, and it is incredibly long. I actually got through it pretty quickly though, but do I recommend it? I don't know. It's okay. If you don't have anything else that's interesting to you, sure, read it. But if you have other books that are interesting to you, read those ones. Bye. Hope you guys are having a good day.